Hi guys, I'm going to continue to read Old Wolf today by Avi. I'm starting with chapter 13, and if you're following along you already know there's two parallel plots, so this one begins with Casey's family. Everybody in the small Clarksville school knew it was Casey's 13th birthday. Mrs. Washington, the principal, announced it on the PA system first thing that morning, as she did for all the kids' birthdays. Then, in his classroom teacher, Mrs. Oates, had the class sing the usual song. They even did the stand up and show your pretty face part. Though Casey thought it babyish, he went along grinning. Even so, what he wanted to say was, "I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a teenage hunter." Casey's favorite class was geometry. For him, the charts and graphs were really map making, and he loved it. As he worked out problems and measured lines, he imagined he was finding his way through the forest, on the trail, deeper into the game. Chapter 14. Now we're going back to the wolves. Nishaba followed Merla for 2 more miles, but halted when he lost sight of her. He was breathing hard, mouth open, tongue extended, legs unsteady with effort. His front right paw throbbed, and his tail drooped. While rushing through the woods, clumps of his winter underfur had caught on bushes. He began to think, "This raven is mocking me." Noticing a patch of crusty old snow, he went to it, swallowed a mouthful, and lay down. The cold wetness soothed his chest. He rubbed his face in it. Then he looked around. The valley trees, fewer pine, more aspen, and some cottonwoods, were clustered together. A multitude of tiny leaf buds infused the air with a hazy green. Detecting no hint of elk, Nishaba told himself that ravens were not to be trusted. You can only depend on yourself. Even as he had the thought, he felt a sharp pain on the tip of his tail. He leaped and whirled about, only to see a flutter of black wings. Merla had pecked him. The bird, now on a bush, leaned toward him and stuck out her black tongue. Merla, "Caw, caw," she laughed. "I thought wolves were faster than that. Just how old are you? 9? "Never mind my age," snapped Nishaba, struggling to keep his temper. "Where are those elk?" "Oh my, your sense of smell has grown weak too. Really, how old are you?" "Where are the elk?" Nishaba demanded. "I'd say you were at least 9, said Merla. "Where?" snarled Nishaba. Merla ruffled her neck feathers, leaned again toward the wolf, and said, "What about your eyesight? Is that failing too?" "Do you or do you not know about elk?" cried Nishaba. "Of course I do." Glowering, Nishaba pulled his black lips and exposed his sharp teeth, almost all 42 of them. Instead of retreating, Merla sidled a bit closer while remaining on the bush, fluffing out her shaggy neck feathers. She said, "Hungry, aren't you?" Furious, Nishaba leapt at her. With ease, the raven fluttered out of reach to a nearby tree. "Caw!" she laughed. "And you're lame, too." Disgusted with himself and the bird, Nishaba lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Instead of looking at her, he studied his wounded foot. It was hurting. The scab had split and blood was oozing. He turned to the bird. "For someone who knows everything," he said, "you ask a lot of questions." "Ravens have a saying, 'Foolish creatures live by answers. Wise creatures live by questions.'" Nishaba, struggling again with his temper, snapped, "Are you going to tell me where the elk are or not?" The raven shrugged, pointed her bill, and said, "Just beyond that knoll." Nishaba turned quickly and looked. 30 yards on, there was a rise in the ground, a knoll studded with gray boulders and close-standing trees. Taking a deep breath, he caught the distinct, musty smell of elk. He stood up, ears pricked forward. He now heard the elk's slow, puffy breathing. He heard calves squealing and mewing, and cows barking softly. He thought, They must be grazing on new grass. Neshaba's momentary elation gave way to frustration that he had not found them on his own. All the same, he took a step forward to the knoll. "Stop!" the bird cried with such urgency that Neshaba halted. "Look here, Wolf," she cried. "You're positively tottering. You're too old to catch anything by yourself." "Must you insult me?" cried Neshaba. "Caw! Here's another raven saying, an insult isn't an insult if it's the truth. If you go after those elk alone, you'll just frighten them away. If you want to be successful, you'll need to fetch your pack." Sensing the bird was right, Neshaba clenched his jaws with annoyance. Then he said, "I don't want to lose the chance." "Don't worry," said the raven. "We'll keep a watch." "We?" Look up. On the tree where Merla sat, but higher, 7 ravens were perched on as many branches. They were gazing down at Neshaba, eyes bright like so many burning black candles. "You call your family a pack," Merla said. "Do you know what humans call a group of ravens?" "I don't care about humans." "A conspiracy of ravens," the wolf thought but did not say. "That's about right." "Listen to me, Wolf," whispered the bird. "It's that time of year. Everybody in the forest is hungry. We ravens are just as hungry as you are. Very well," she continued. "Here's the offer. We guide you to the elk, and your pack will kill 1, maybe 2. Eat what you want. Just make sure you leave enough for us. That's the offer. Food for you. No trickery from us. Do you agree or not?" Neshaba took his time before saying, "I agree." "How smart of you," said the raven. "Now, get back to your pack and return quickly to this exact spot. We'll keep an eye on the elk." "It's miles," Neshaba said. "Food, Wolf, food!" Neshaba turned toward the knoll and sniffed again. The irksome bird was right. Elk were there, no question. Next moment, he began running back along the path he had just taken. "Caw! Caw!" cried the raven. "Hurry, old wolf, hurry!" Ignoring the pain in his foot and his weariness, Neshaba pushed himself to run faster. "That I have to depend on a bird," he thought. Aggravating creature, a raven. The pack, especially Garby, will consider it a weakness. Well, no one need to know. And if we get the elk, it won't matter. Yes, it will be a long run, 8 miles to the den, 8 miles back. But if the raven does keep watch, then no more starving. And I'll have shown Garby I'm not too old to hunt. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.